Empire. In sailing, there is a need for speed.
So everything is being designed according to all this specific rule, and it wasn't at the beginning. Wasn't that easy? I mean, it's been a project, and thanks to the R&D department of Dianese to develop something unique.
That's Max Sirena, skipper of the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli America's Cup team, where life on the water has become a thrill ride. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. Competitive sailing. It's not as socially distant as you'd think or probably like these days. Not in the waters Max Sirena and his team are racing in. Safety's of paramount importance. And today, Max is going to join us to talk about advances in sailing and where Cristiano Silei, the CEO of Dianese, come in. They make protective gear that is known in the motorcycle racing market, but it's now helping sailors have functional and stylish gear to race hard. We have an international guest today, Cristiano Silei, the CEO of Dianese, and Max Sirena, who is the skipper of the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team, which is a challenger for the America's Cup. And man, have things changed in the world of competitive sailing. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
You know, we're going to get into the equipment because there's a lot to it that is happening now. But I want to start just in general, Max, since you are competing in this sport, and we've talked to a lot of people about competition in this extremely unusual time, what has it been like to compete in sailing during a pandemic?
Well, obviously, I mean, it's been tough for everyone because, it's a worldwide problem. Now we are living here in Auckland in a kind of a bubble. So and thanks to New Zealand to having us here and make our life easier. But it's been tough to organize a challenge like this one, because America's Cup team is a big family. It's more than 120 people coming from all around the world. But especially, there is a lot of connection from outside of the team. The yard where we built the boat, which was in one of the most, you could say in English, in one of the areas which was most affected in Italy, which is Bergamo area. Our yard was there at Persico Marine, and we shut down the yard for almost a month and a half because the crisis due to the pandemic. And so it's been especially last year around March, it's been tough to run the team, but I guess if you get yourself organized, you put in place correct protocol, you follow direction, and you can keep working, and you can keep move forward, because we have to move forward. I mean, in general, in life and in work, I guess if you organize your company or your structure, you can create your own bubble, and you can keep running and working. And I think the big thing it happened worldwide. I think no one was really prepared to what happened, and was something completely new. But especially, I think no one was even thinking how big was this problem, for why? Because until it doesn't really affect you from, until it doesn't become so close to you, you always thinking something, it will go away soon. In reality, it's still there, and but I guess. But I guess, again, if you organize yourself, you follow protocol, you respect the rule, you can keep working.
Let's get into some of the technology. Cristiano, tell me a little bit about the background with Dianese and how you all got involved with competitive sailing.
Dianese was founded in 1972 by Lino Dianese, obviously. And since the very beginning, since its inception, Dianese has always been researching protection for people that love dynamic sports like we do. And at the beginning, mostly on motorcycles. So whatever you nowadays see in terms of protection when you watch a motorcycle race, that was invented by Dianese. Like the back protector, the knee slider, the aerodynamic hump on the leather suits or carbon composites on gloves, and the airbag, the wearable airbag. These are all Dianese inventions. Now, it happens that both Max, which is become a friend, and Grant, Grant Dalton, which heading now the two teams that are challenging each other for this competition. They're both motorcyclists, motorcycle enthusiasts, and they know very well Dianese. So 4 years ago, when they were working together, they came to visit me in Vicenza, where we have our headquarters, and they were telling us the story that the world of sailing has been changing dramatically in the past 10 years. It has become a sport that can achieve speeds and such a speed on the water. We're talking, well above 50 knots. It's almost 90 kilometers per hour, sometimes even above. And Max's boat is the fastest, by the way, at the moment. And so that has changed the profile in terms of safety dramatically. Imagine when something happens and when you're sailing at that speed and the boat capsizes, or you have a condition which is not completely regular. So you have these athletes on the boat which are subject to forces, and they go all of a sudden they go from, let's say, 40 knots to 0 in a second. So they are thrown out of the boat, and they can hit the equipment they use to sail the boat. They can hit the sails. They can hit anything rigid on the boat, and that can be an enormous danger. Unfortunately, we know that it happened in the past. Some tragic accident has happened in the past. So they came to us, and when they came to us, we immediately recognized the pattern. We've been developing protection for motorcycles. We've been developing protection for equestrian, for ski, and for cycling for many years. And so together with them, we sat down and we analyzed what is it that you guys need in terms of protection. And this is how the first Sea Guard, the first jacket, was born 4 years ago. And we said the jacket that has the intent not only to be a buoyant device, so to keep these guys afloat in case they go in the water, which is, obviously it's a regulation requirement, but also protects the vital parts, the vital organs in case of an impact with a rigid obstacle on the boat. And that's how it happened, that was 4 years ago, and then now we are very happy to be supporting Max and the Pirelli Prada team, as well as Grant and the other guys. And I have to say, and please allow me to say, that so far we are the only one that are sure we're going to win the America's Cup.
Max, as you think back on the necessity for better protective gear, was what led to the decision that you needed to approach someone about helping you find something that would protect your crew better?
Well, because as Cristiano said, in sailing world, clothing was more something to cover your body. It was not really a tools. It was more a dress you were wearing according to the weather condition, no? And so when we start to reach this speed with this boat, we thought, well, we will need a change in our clothing as well. Our clothing is going to become a tools as well, not just something to cover your skin. And it was, as Cristiano said, we myself and Grant Dalton, we are passionate of motorbiking and motorsport in general. And I had a few common friends with Cristiano. They put me in touch with him, and it was a dream for me, to be honest, to go. I still remember when I went in front of Dianese headquarters. I was so pleased because I know Dianese is probably the most famous brand in motorsport, and so if you wanna look for something new, something technologically advanced, you need to go to the best. And luckily, when they opened the door, they've been super keen to develop something with us. And one thing to add to what Cristiano summarized is also the fact that, again, life jacket now is not just a life jacket, it's a body impact. It gives flotation. You need space for oxygen and tank and for knife, because with this life jacket, we carry all our security equipment and safety equipment, and in case of capsize or in case you get trapped under the water or so on. And but also ergonomic was important. Exactly the same. Basically, the needs are pretty similar to what a motorbike driver needs. No, you need something ergonomically perfect, aerodynamically perfect. You need the camel bag for the water inside, because also there are some specific rules in our class where there is a weight limit you can carry on board in your equipment. So everything is being designed according to all this specific rule, and it wasn't at the beginning. It wasn't that easy. I mean, it's been a project, and thanks to the R&D department of Dianese, we developed something unique, which I think is going to open a new era in our sport as well, because there is a lot of the performance of the boats, even outside of the America's Cup, they're increasing by a lot in the last few years, and I know there is a lot of, even in the Olympic class, they start looking for something more professionally built compared to what you find in the market, and luckily we are here, and luckily Dianese is going to win the cup again this time. So because one of the two, they're going to wear a Dianese jacket.
Support for this podcast comes from Goldman Sachs. What do Goldman Sachs experts and leading thinkers have to say about trends shaping markets, industries, and the global economy? Stay informed with the latest insights from Goldman Sachs on the economic and market implications of COVID-19. Available on our podcasts at gs.com/COVID-19 or any of your favorite podcast platforms.
Welcome to your Internet Minute from AT&T Fiber, where we demystify your internet connection. All right, so today I want to talk gaming. The key to winning? Low latency. You see, high latency means a high ping rate, which causes, lagging. And that actually does impact whether you can score that final goal when duking it out online. Okay, so for a winning gaming experience, you want ultra-low latency. Makes sense, right? Ultra-low latency is the result of high upload speeds. Pro tip, you want AT&T Fiber. With 20 times faster upload speeds, AT&T Fiber delivers a faster internet experience than cable. And you're looking at an under 11 millisecond ping rate. So for all you gamers out there, get AT&T Fiber and maximize your gameplay. Unlimited internet data included. No annual contract. Visit att.com/getfiber. And keep tuning in for more Internet Minutes. Limited availability in select areas. Speeds not guaranteed and vary based on combined upload and download speeds versus major cable providers. 1 gig service with uploads at 35 megabits per second. Other factors may impact on game lag. Individual results will vary. Restrictions apply. Check availability at att.com/getfiber.
Cristiano, let me ask you about the design for a moment. Obviously, your company had a lot of experience in this high-performance sports. You had obviously dealt with impacts and aerodynamics and ergonomics, all the things that Max is discussing. And it's not that all the motorcycle races are the same, but the conditions, I would think, are similar for most races. In the case of sailing, the conditions can widely vary. So how did you kind of take that into account when you were thinking about a design that would work in competitive sailing?
Well, first of all, let me say that it's such an honor to be working with Max and his team, and there is a big, there's also a huge element of national pride here in seeing Italian excellence out there, which is, bringing up, showing everywhere around the world that when we get together, when we put our brains together, and when we think the way we think, we can achieve a lot. So going back to the development process, I have to say that the Max's team input has been fundamental in reaching higher degrees of functionality in the garment. You have to consider that as Max was mentioning, it has to be ergonomically perfect. Sailing at maximum exertion as they do in different weather conditions, they do require to have a garment which is basically almost invisible to wear. Like you don't feel you have it on. And thanks to their input and their help, we managed to achieve a garment which is just 700 grams. I mean, it's basically, Max is wearing one very often, so he can tell us how basically you get all the benefits of the protection without having to wear something that hampers you in any movement or weighs you down, especially because of the regulations. And so inspiration originally came not from motorcycling, because motorcycling has different conditions, different requirements, if you will. When you ride the motorcycle, you have to protect the body from the tarmac, from the asphalt at high speeds that can reach 350 kilometers per hour. Here, it was looking significantly more like mountain biking, which is something that we also follow. So we use the lessons we learned there to develop the first garments, and then with this new interaction with Max team, we brought it to the next level.
How about fashion? Where does that play a role in developing these items? Because as I look at, this looks very modern, very sleek, very unusual for what the sailors of the past looked like. And obviously you all are known for the look that the motorcyclists wear when they're racing. Did fashion play a role in any of this?
I rather talk about design rather than fashion. And I think obviously working with Prada as a partner, the design element takes entirely another meaning. But in everything we do, and I think there's also something very, very national, if you will, but specifically for us, I speak for Dianese here, everything that we do have an element of design which is very prominent in our thinking. Functionality comes first, but functionality cannot come to the expense of having designed something that is aesthetically pleasing. This is, again, it's a history of our company, but I believe it's a history of our country, if you will.
Max, you had mentioned a couple of times, and in reading about the technology, you had mentioned that the boats are moving a lot faster than they used to. Could you take us through what has happened in sailing that has allowed for the boats to reach the speeds regularly that you are accustomed to now?
Yeah, basically I think the America's Cup in our case is the most expression of technology and performance and probably is where you find the greatest and crazy mind in terms of design process, for in our world. And I've been lucky because I lived the transition between the let's call the conventional type of boat to this foiling monster. And I think there were a need in our sport to do something new, to go faster, basically, because as an athlete or as a competitor or a driver, the only thing you want to do every time, every year, you want to improve your performance in terms of skill, but also in terms of tools or company you're using, and it's enough to look around. If you look around now, everyone wants to foil. Everyone wants to go above the water, and with everything. You can talk about boats, you can talk about kiting, surfing. With surfing, everyone is foiling now. Even my son, which is a sailor, a great sailor, but he wants to foil now. He wants to go faster and faster because I think in I think in each of us there is a wish to try something special and to do something really exciting, I don't want to say to move from a boring type of sailing to something new, something different. I guess it's the same if you ask Valentino to drive a motorbike of these of the last few years compare eventually driving a motorbike which was in the 60s. It's different. It's a different sport, I guess. So you cannot even make comparison. It's just different. And I think everything is moving together. It's obviously you need when you sail a fast boat like the one we are sailing now, which they go over 50 knots almost all the time. Everything goes in parallel, the clothing, the protection, the tools, the tools we are using to develop the sail, because the boat is really. I just give you an idea. In 2007, in America's Cup in Valencia, 2007, in our design office, we had 7 naval architects. Now we have 1 naval architect and 7 aerospace engineers, and that gives you the direction we took, in terms of the need of the boat, and everything is related to performance, and when you are competing, who's putting really the level of your team is your opponent. You want to try to beat your opponent, so it's not just a racing against yourself, but it's mainly a racing, be ready to beat your opponent. And the transition has been the funny thing is the transition, like in most of the sport, is taking decades. It takes really years to go from one thing to another one. In our sport, and especially in the America's Cup, we went from one cycle to the other one, from displacement boat to foiling boat. Like in 2000, from 2010 to 2013, we went from a boat which was sailing 15 knots to a boat which was sailing 40 knots, just in one cycle. So it's been brutal at the beginning. I mean, the America's Cup in San Francisco has been crazy because we were not probably even ready 100% on sailing a monster like that. But once you move so fast in that direction, you can only go even faster. And I think the AC-75, the boat we are using, we are sailing today, is probably the most exciting project I've ever been involved in. And I think in the next generation, in the next America's Cup, you're going to see boats going over 60 knots, which is huge if you think we are talking about the sailboat. I mean, just to give you an idea, one of our tender, which is the one where is linked to the boat, where we got the telemetry between boat and tender, it got almost 2,000 horsepower to follow the boat. So that is give you the idea of the performance, of the speed, and how fast these boats are going. And obviously everything is related to the performance of the boat. Everything needs to be at the same level of the performance of the boat. Otherwise, you could end up in a disaster.
And we wish you the best of luck. And clearly, you have a huge cheerleader back home with the CEO of Dianese, Cristiano Silei, and Max Sirena, who is the skipper of the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli vessel, and they will be competing for the America's Cup. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Support for this podcast comes from CDW and Dell Technologies. At CDW, we get new work environments can bring new distractions.
My kitchen is my new office. It's also home to our new family smoothie machine.
While CDW experts can pre-configure Dell Latitude 9000 series laptops with built-in AI that learns how users work to minimize disruptions and help you and your organization stay productive. Ooh, even when life gets messy.
I'll get the hose.
For technology that helps you adapt, trust Dell Technologies and IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Learn more at cdw.com/Dell Client.
On the next Future Sport podcast, the NFT craze hit a peak when Rob Gronkowski designed his own set of digital collectibles, and almost $2 million were spent acquiring them.
Really sitting down and talking to some of our clients, and starting with Gronk, recognize that the players aren't really getting their fair share here and running through the Players Association, and saw a unique opportunity to work with Gronk to be the first athlete to independently launch his own NFT.
Joe Silberswag and Adam Richman, co-founders of Medium Rare, the event and branding company behind the launch, are going to join us to discuss where these markets are going and how to view real-life events when the pandemic comes to an end. That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. The Future Sport Podcast is brought to you by 3 Advance, developers of sports tech apps that are AI-powered and UX-focused. So if you're looking to create some apps for your startup or your sports biz calls for some artificial or business intelligence, you should check out 3 Advance. They're incredible. Go to 3advance.com. That's the number 3advance.com.